morning, children. How are you this morning? We're through my garden. This is my little path that I walk through. It's not very big, but I still love it. I enjoy walking this little path. It makes me think of our saint of today, who is Saint Francis of Assisi. You may recognize that name. Our church is named after Saint Francis of Assisi. He was a wonderful man. And the reason I like to be out in my garden is for this reason. He loved all creation. He loved everything that God made. He loved the earth that I'm standing on, the sky above me, and all the things that He made. He made the three things that we had to have. Remember, we have to have the earth to grow something. We have to have the sun and the rain. The three things that we need. Well, today I have to tell you something before we get started on St. Francis. I thought this was pretty neat. Now, you know he was a man of prayer. Yes, Pretzel, I can hear her barking. He was a man of prayer, deep prayer. And this is a story of prayer. Well, a long time ago, there was a place that had farms. They had, like I grow my tomatoes, they had those. Well, they had bugs coming, and they're called aphids, and they were eating their tomatoes. I have that problem too. Well, what happened was this. Now, they could not go to a store. They couldn't go to a store and buy tomatoes or buy anything that grew. They had to grow it to eat. That's how they survived. Well, these bugs were eating all their crops, and they were just desperate. So what they did, they all prayed to the Virgin Mary. They prayed to her and said, please, please send your help, your love to us, to help us with this. All of them prayed. Well, what happened was a bug came, a beetle came, and they went, oh no, this is going to eat more of our crops. But that's not what happened at all. What happened was this. The beetle, a red and black beetle, came and started eating the aphids. It ate all of those up, and their crops lived. Let me show you a picture of this beetle. I think you will recognize. They called it the beetles of Our Lady. Let me see if I can, yeah, I got it right. I think I recognize that. Well, they called it the beetles of Our Lady, and do you know what? It is now known as the ladybug. But I thought that was pretty neat. They say that ladybugs in your garden are very good luck. Now, I have found 4. I really need some more because they are eating those aphids. But I thought that was wonderful. And it also showed the power of prayer that St. Francis had. Well, why don't we get ready today? And we're going to say, I have the cutest little book a friend gave me, Miss Andrea gave me this, Saints for Children. And I thought, ooh, I enjoy it myself. Well, let me see if I can get this picture. Here it is. Look at St. Francis with his nature around him. And on this other page is a prayer for St. Francis. Are you ready? Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is discord, harmony. Where there is error, truth. Where there is doubt, faith. When there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Lord, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in the giving that we do receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. And it is dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. I think that is one beautiful story, isn't it? Well, I tell you what, we're going to go to a different part of the garden now. See you in just a little bit. Here we are again in a little different spot of our garden. And I'm all excited. You might can see Pretzel's excited that we are going to talk about St. Francis of Assisi. He loved all creatures. He did. All of God's creations. You can hear the birds. We have all kind of things going on around here, but I don't know if you can see our St. Francis. Bob and I bought that, many years ago, and it has always been a wonderful thing. And sometimes we pass by and we'll say our prayers. He had that wonderful prayer that we had earlier. Well, let me tell you about it. Oh, his mama was a beautiful woman, and she was French. She was from France, and just gorgeous. Now, his daddy was very, very wealthy, and he was a merchant, a cloth merchant, and he sold silk. Well, they did. They had a lot of money. So he was born into money. Now, he was born when his daddy was out buying silk. He would get on a boat and just travel far away. Well, he was born, and his mama named him Giovanni. Yes, his name was Giovanni. Well, then his daddy came back from the trip, so excited that he had a son, but he did not want him to be named Giovanni. So he changed his name. He did. He changed it to Francis. Well, he grew up, like I said, with lots and lots of money. He got to do whatever he wanted to do. He went to fine schools. He learned how to wrestle. He was into wrestling. He was into horsemanship. That means that he would go and they'd teach him how to ride his horse just beautifully, and to compete with that. And he had the finest horses. Well, I hate to say this, it is just a terrible thing, but he was not very nice when he was younger. Now, he was sweet to people, but he did not follow rules. He did not like to follow the rules. He quit school when he was 14. He decided that he would just go out and go to parties with his friends. He never came home when he was supposed to. And you would think that he was a terrible, mean person, but no, he was not. He was wonderful. People loved him. They said he had charm, that he just knew how to joke with you and have a good time. He just did not like following rules, which was not very good. Well, when he was a little bit older, another sad story, here comes a war in Assisi. And he was captured. He was captured and became a prisoner. And they put him in a dark dungeon under the earth, a dark dungeon. And he stayed there for 1 year. He was there for a year. And they say at that time that he prayed very much to the Lord. He had prayer with the Lord a lot. Well, what they were waiting on is that the people that captured him, since his daddy had a lot of money, and the reason they knew that he was from money is because his armor that he wore, he wanted to be a knight, and his armor that he wore was very expensive, and not everybody had that expensive armor. So they thought that if they called or got in touch with his daddy, that what they would do is ransom him. That means they'd say, you give us so much money and we will let your son Francis out of the dungeon. Well, they did that, but it took them a year. And they said the whole time, like I said, he was praying, but he did not lose his sense of happiness. And you know, you have to think, I don't know what I would be like if I was in a dungeon for a year. I don't know, I think I would be mean maybe, but he wasn't. And we think it's because of his deep devotion to prayer to the Lord, that was why he did not become mean, and that he was very sweet at that time. Now, he got out, I guess he was around 20. Let me check that because I want to make sure that I get that right. He was around that age. And his daddy decided when he got out, says, I want you to be a merchant like me, a cloth merchant, sell silk and make lots of money. Well, he kind of did not want to do that. After what he had been through, he wanted to dedicate his life to the Lord. He wanted to go out and tell people about the Lord. And he would go, like to my little path that I have, he would go to paths deep in the woods and he would pray. He would pray to the Lord, and he would just sit there and listen to nature, and that's what he wanted to do. But of course, his daddy was very unhappy with that. He did not want him to do that. But that's what he felt that the Lord wanted him to do after what he'd been through. So he went all along to different churches, and one church had a cross, a beautiful old cross. And he was praying in front of that cross, and he heard the Lord tell him, I need for you to go out and tell others about me. I want you to do that, and I want you to be in poverty. That means I don't want you to have all these fine things anymore. They don't mean that much. I want you to get rid of them. Well, he did. He did exactly what the Lord asked him to do. Well, if he sold some of his things, he would give money to those who needed it. Or if he would give them away to people that he thought needed it. So the best thing to do for him was just to go out and do exactly what the Lord asked him to do. And so what he did was this. He put on clothing that I think, let's see him right here. He would put clothing on that he looked like that. Yes. There he is. You see that? That is not fine silk garment. Not a fine silk garment at all, is it? It's brown cloth. And they said it was rough cloth, that it was kind of scratchy on your skin. But he sold all his fine garments, or he gave them to someone else. And that's what he wanted to do. Now, he would go to different villages and preach about the Lord and about nature, about taking care of nature. And he had followers. Let me see. I'm thinking that, yes, he had 11 followers, which was a total of 12. So that means there were like the 12 apostles. And let me see. I wanted to make sure I got this right. Well, let me see if I can find it. Oh, yes. So he did go with his friends, or he told his friends to go to villages. Sometimes they go to like 5 villages a day and talk about the Lord. Well, these followers of his became the Franciscan friars. He started that. Well, after they did that, once he said this. Now, this is a fun story. I don't even have to read this. This is wonderful. Okay. He loved nature. I told you that. He adored everybody, and everybody, let's see, like people, but also the creatures. One day, they say this, there were 100 birds, and he was out in the woods, and these 100 birds were very still, listening to him preach. And what he told them, he talked to them. He said, be grateful for the wonderful clothes you have. And what he meant was be grateful for those beautiful feathers and all that you have. Be grateful for your independence. That was your freedom to fly everywhere. Be grateful to the Lord for the things that he has given you. And that means all the nuts and seeds and all the trees that they have their nests. Be grateful to that. Well, they said those 100 birds stayed just like that, very still, until he told them that they could go. And they did. I thought that was a very wonderful story. I enjoyed that one very much. Well, you know, he never did become a priest. He did not. He kept with the friars, and they kept going along to the lands and preaching to the others. And I wanted to find out exactly when he became, here it is. Well, sadly, he died at age 44, which really isn't that old at 44. But think what he did in the time that he lived. Well, 2 years after that, he was made a saint. He was made a saint, and that would be July 16th, 1228. That's how long ago it was. To be that long ago and not forget. Well, I think it all started with him with prayer. When he would pray to the Lord. You know, that's with everybody. You can pray. Sometimes I walk in my garden, in my path, and I pray. If you don't feel like praying sometimes, you know what I think you can do? You can sing a song to the Lord. I think he loves that. Sometimes I do that back here. I wonder if my neighbors ever hear me, but I'm okay with it. There's one song that I heard when I was, very young, and it makes me think of walking. So you can walk in your backyard anywhere and talk to the Lord. You can talk to him out loud or in your mind. He hears you no matter what, and he is with you. Now, in this song, excuse me, it says the word tarry, with a T, tarry. Well, what that means, because this song was written a long time ago, it'll say tarry there. That means that you took your time. You did not rush. And maybe, like if I'm walking through my garden saying a prayer to the Lord, we might stop and look at my tomatoes. I might thank him for that. But let me tell you this song. It's a very sweet song. Oh, he walks with me and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the love we share as we tarry there, no other has ever known. I love that song. Sometimes it just gets to me. Let's do it one more time. And he walks with me and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the love we share as we tarry there, no other has ever known. Well, thank you so much for listening to our St. Francis of Assisi, about him, what a wonderful man he was. I have something to show you before we leave. Now, I told you that he loved nature, and with my plants, what I do is I don't put anything to kill the bugs because I like the bugs, but also the soil. I don't put anything in the soil to make it like a chemical in it to make the grow fast. The tomatoes are bigger. So what we do is this. I'm going to move my table, and I'm going to show you what this drum is for. I think you can see it pretty good. Let me move this there. And we put inside our drum, I think you can see it a little bit, enough. I don't know if Mr. Bob's going to have to move our camera. I think you can see good enough. Well, inside here, we would put scraps. Like, if we peel an apple, I put my potato peelings in here. I put apple peels. I put everything inside here. Squash or cabbage that we maybe don't eat. Anything that is natural, that is a plant. Even grass. Mr. Bob cuts the grass. Sometimes he'll put the grass in here. We put our lid on, and we move it around. Hear it? It tumbles all that inside. Yeah. And I come out every day. I try to make myself remember to put, tumble this. And then it takes several months. But when you're through, inside of this is a rich soil. It's not ready right now, but you have to wait because you can look down in there and see. But it makes a wonderful soil to plant or to put around your plants. And that was something that God gave us. And I just thought that would be interesting for you to know. Well, I love you all so much. We're going to try to have a special treat for you in a few minutes for celebrating our St. Francis of Assisi. Thank you. I love you. Bye-bye. Hello, boys and girls. How are you today? We're back. We have got Bo and Pretzel, and they love their wonderful Cheerios. And Pretzel, she just likes them so much. Come here, Bo. I got you one. Come here. Come over here. Pretzel, you come over here and let Bo. Come here. Come here, Pretzel. Pretzel. Well, come over here this way. Pretzel, come over here. Come on. There it is, Bo. Stand up, Bo. Come here. Bo. Right. Bo, sit. That is perfect. Now, run over. There he goes. There. Oh, there he made it. He made it. There you go. Pretzel's such a good audience. Okay, Bo, you ready? You'll faint when I say love you. Love you. There he fainted. Good boy. Good boy. Well, that's it. That is our tricks for today. Oh, he wants to do another one. Wait a minute. We will see you later. Bye-bye, everybody.